And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me, I have my good friend Kevin from the Reels for Real podcast. He's back here again, but this time we're not reviewing a movie. We decided to do something a little different. I actually took some inspiration from his TikTok, and it's about separating the art from the artist. And I thought it was a very interesting concept of trying to do something different. And I feel like, as someone that ends up studying film and doing things that we do, it's important to do this because we actually have our own rules, our own stipulations on how we view things and judge things for what they are. So yeah, we are going to talk about P. Diddy. We're going to talk about Marilyn Manson. We're going to talk about Kevin Spacey. We're going to talk about even Woody Allen as well. Some of the other controversial stuff that happens within the Hollywood entertainment industry. So let's go ahead. Let's do this. Hey Kevin, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
It's going great. It's going really good. It's always good to be able to have you back on the show, especially that last time that we did Surf Ninjas together. And now we're doing something a little different. And I'm actually happy that we're doing something like this. I actually took a lot of inspiration from what you did on your TikTok. I'm like, you know what? This is actually something I've been wanting to do for a while. And I just had to find the right guest to do it. And the way you broke it down and everything, I was like, I was really inspired by that. I just thought it was really good.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah. I mean, we got to start looking at that stuff, man. I mean, everybody's freaking out about J-Lo right now, but it's like, I feel like we have more important issues at hand than
Right.
J-Lo,
Other than
right?
J-Lo with her lip syncing and Ben Affleck marriage, which was her third time being married to the dude. But yeah, we have other stuff besides Ben's marriage that we need to talk about.
Look, man, I don't. Yeah, I don't work for TMZ. I don't care too much about all that. I'm like, come on now.
Here.
Like, let's.
Exactly.
Basically, she's toxic. Okay, we understand.
Right. Exactly, man.
So,
but
I don't know.
Here's the thing. We always wind up having our own rules and our own stipulations. Even when Rossie was talking to one of her guests about the fact that, it's okay for her to bump Michael Jackson and forgetting about all the stuff that all the stuff that he was convicted of in the 80s, 90s and stuff like that. But yet when we hold somebody else accountable that's in the present time, it's like, oh no, we can't listen or watch this. And we're actually very contradictory to our own stuff because we actually design our own rules within our own divided kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, facts. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. So how are you kind of navigating music these days? Like, let's take P. Diddy, for instance. Dude's been in the game for a long time. Bad Boys. I mean, you got to also think about Bad Boys, just who all falls under Bad Boys. You're talking about half of 90s R&B falls under him. You got Biggie Smalls falls under him. You've got a lot of people that fall under him.
Right.
And, he was the producer, the one making calling the shots, doing all that, So, yeah, how do you feel about all that?
To be honest with you, I can't even listen to I'll Be Missing You anymore. Yeah. Every single time this came on the 90s channels, the 90s channel on Sirius, I would always bump it. I'm like, yeah, I miss you. I'll be missing you. And then I'm like, wait, this actually has a whole new meaning to I'll be missing you other than the whole entire deal with Biggie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I always change the channel every single time it comes on. Or if there's another song that P. Diddy's on, I have to switch channels because I just can't separate the art from the artist. And that's actually a tough thing to do, especially when it's something more present in 2024. I think if we designed our things the way that were back in the 90s or whatever, and now all of a sudden he's out, for example, we might actually say, okay, well, this is what he used to do, and he's not convicted of this, but now it's more present. It's like, okay, I can't support you right now. I cannot support you on what you do. And so that's where I'm at with P. Diddy. As far as Biggie, I can support Biggie because of the fact that maybe some of the stuff that happened with him and P. Diddy is not his fault or anything like that. He's just guilty by association. People under
that's the way I view the whole record label thing. It's guilty by. I mean, it's just that's him. At the end of the day, he's the one, and he's such a powerful tool, man. He's almost like a modern day mob boss. At the end of the day, I mean, he had Shine take the rap for the club shooting when it was supposed to go down on him.
Right.
all the different things that he's used, the way he's used people in their contracts, one-time deals and then dispose of them, that kind of thing. And then just the whole Cassie thing. He said that she's a liar. She's just trying to get attention. She's trying to get money. Then the video comes out, it's leaked of him beating her. Now he got a video. I feel so disgusted. I talked to my therapist. Well, shut your ass up.
You didn't talk to nobody. You talked to your publicist on what the hell to say. That's what you did. You talked to your publicist. The publicist
and it still didn't turn out good. It still didn't turn out good.
No, it really didn't. Like I was telling my friends, I said, he was just sorry that he got caught. That's all he was doing. Because when you apologize for something, I always tell my kids, are you apologizing because you're legitimately sorry, or you're just sorry that you got caught? Because those are two different things. And if you go on ahead and tell me what you're apologizing for, then I might forgive you. But he didn't do that. And it's always about, I'm sorry I offended you, versus I'm sorry for the actions that I've done, and now I'm going to have to face accountability for my actions. It's always, I'm sorry I offended you. Wait, what?
You didn't. You see, he didn't address her because legally they say they're not supposed to address each other. But there's a way of addressing somebody without saying her name.
Exactly.
That just looks stupid, man. He looked dumb.
He really did.
But shoot, I mean, let's talk about it, bro. Like, let's talk about. So if you watched that TikTok video, you notice I talked about the director for Jeepers Creepers, Victor Salva. Did you know about him?
Yeah, I know all about him. That's why one reason why I cannot watch another Jeepers Creepers movie anymore is because of that. I can't even watch the other ones that they had set up because of him. And even Powder, the movie Powder, that movie's a fantastic movie, but I cannot watch the movie Powder from the 90s because of that. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? I was like, you don't know the fact that he's actually a pedophile and all that stuff? Like, wait, what? I was like, no. I was like, yeah, he's a pedophile.
Dude,
why would I want to support? Yeah.
She was 12 years old. He videotaped the encounter. And what's wild about it is that, so this all happens, right? And he was supposed to be sentenced to 3 years, but he ended up serving 15 months. But he's a lifetime sex offender, though. That's what he's registered as. But what's interesting is Francis Ford Coppola, who is one of the greatest directors of all time, has vouched for him, basically like giving him money for his projects like Jeepers Creepers and some of these other ones when he got out, because he's like, hey, he's a talented young director. I believe in his vision. And she talked about the age gap. He said something like, and these were just two young people at the time. It was a misunderstanding. Dude, she was 12 years old.
No, there's no misunderstanding. And Francis, I mean, I like some of his films, but he hasn't put out a decent film in years. Right.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, Francis Ford Coppola was one of the greatest directors in the 70s. And so, everybody's excited for this new Megalopolis that he's doing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, he's a creepy old man now. He up here kissing extras on set, talking about you trying to get them in the mood, and because there's like a scene, like I'm trying to get them in. Dude, you 80-some years old just kissing people because you want to. Like, anytime you're that age and you have these creepy tendencies, people tend to start sneaking that stuff in there because they can get away with it when they're in their 80s. But
right.
Francis, you ain't gonna be able to get away with just kissing people like that, dude. Like,
no,
like people are speaking out against that now. You can't
exactly
sit your creepy ass old down.
Because here's the thing, because once you get up on that Me Too movement, once they Me Too you, you might as well just wrap it up and say forget it, because there's no coming back after you get Me Too.
Yeah, man. Like, and I don't know, Francis Ford Coppola, like for me, and that's what I was talking about, kind of like timestamps. Like, it was interesting. One of our TikTok creators, who I labeled as problematic, which I'm glad he apologized now. But he basically was saying you can't do a timestamp on people. You have to cancel everybody in their entirety. And I was like, well, so Francis Ford Coppola, it needs to be a more nuanced conversation to me, because when we talk about Francis Ford Coppola, he hasn't sexually abused anybody. He hasn't raped anybody. The problem is that he supported a rapist, right?
Right, exactly.
So when you look at like just the time period and when that happened, and then you look like back at the 70s, like, should you cancel The Godfather? I don't think so. Like,
no,
I'm not telling you to cancel The Godfather. Like, it's like, that's why I say it needs to be more nuanced, just because of that. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that do things we don't agree with. Like,
right.
A lot of them. I feel like over half of Hollywood is Hollyweird. straight up. Like these people
Exactly.
are
It's wholly
weird.
weird.
They do things that don't align with me, my beliefs. I think when people get money, they just get weird, bro. Like they get really
They do
weird.
because they don't know how to handle it. It's something new
Yeah.
for them. They
Yeah.
get all this
Yeah.
money in there, and before you know, you're blowing your money at your whole wad on stupid stuff that you never even thought of. For example, Nicolas Cage buying a castle and getting bankrupt and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a story for another day. But it falls into that line of all the stupid, crazy stuff that you do with money and not being careful with it and stuff like that, and also and then being weird. You're just doing off the wall crazy shit, like
for sure,
wanting to kiss extras on the set. I can't, and here's the thing, I can't support that film because it's in today's time. It's
it's unfortunate, man. Jeepers Creepers was a lot of fun too, man. I
really enjoyed the first one.
That was huge because I believe I was in middle school at the time, and that was dude. We're talking about Jeepers Creepers. We're talking about the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, remake of Friday the 13th. Like horror was like in a good place at that time. Like.
Definitely.
So Jeepers Creepers was kind of like that. Yeah, Jeepers Creepers was kind of like that fresh new thing. So, but when that information came out, I was like, hell no, I don't give.
No, matter of fact, I actually gave that DVD to Goodwill. Like, that's how bad it affected me.
Screw this, man. Like, yeah, man. It's like it's one of those things, man. You've seen it, you enjoyed it at the time, man. But you can move on. Like it's not that bad. And I understand some people just like, I remember somebody commented and said, you can't cancel, like everybody's weird, so you'd have to cancel everything. Well, no, there are good people. You know what I'm saying? And also, for example, like I was saying with J-Lo is not a criminal. She's a bad person, legitly. She's treating workers bad. She's giving people attitude. She's not making eye contact when people are talking to her. She's not, she doesn't want her driver to look at her at all. She doesn't want her drivers and security to put her luggage on the ground, like stuff like that. Like, and I'm like, I feel like that's a lot of people in Hollywood.
Right.
Like that's a lot. There's a lot of assholes. Okay.
Right. That bougie attitude is what I call it.
And like, if we want to talk about her and Ben Affleck, they got married 3 damn different times. Like that's Ben's fault.
You already knew going into it was not going to work. It's like watching a rerun of The Sopranos. You already know what's going to happen. So
Dude,
why go back?
And we see him. We, the audience on the outside, can see him smoking a cigarette, looking stressed. You know that meme I'm talking about,
right?
And him slamming the car door. Yeah,
right.
Him slamming the car. Like Ben, you're the one that want to set yourself up for that. You're the one that want that problem. So I don't know, man. Dude. I just don't like. To me, the whole thing of ganging up on J-Lo and saying, "Look, she's a terrible person, so now all her movies suck." I'm like, y'all lying, because I know y'all was enjoying Anaconda like I was. Y'all enjoyed enough just like I did. You enjoyed, Made in Manhattan, Monster. Like y'all enjoyed those movies like I did. Like, stop playing. There's more important people to talk about. Like Roman Polanski's nasty ass. Talk about him.
Exactly. So I want you to bring that subject up of Roman Polanski, though.
Roman Polanski in 1977, the dude was arrested for drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl. So he pleaded to the lesser charge and of basically having sex with a minor. and he did that in exchange for a probation-only sentence. But the thing was, the night before his sentencing, which was a year later, he learned that the judge was going to reject the plea deal that they worked on. So once he got word of that, he hopped on his jet, left the U.S., went to Europe, and he continued making movies in Europe. So he remained a fugitive from the U.S. justice system. And like other allegations have come out from other women, things that he's done. But it's like, bro, this was a 13-year-old girl that you drugged and did that with. Like, there's no coming back for that. And the thing is, he had all these like masterpiece films that came out. So Hollywood at the time was like, no, that's my boy. Like, what you talking about? That's my boy. Like, he ain't do that,
Right.
And then like after everything came out and people knew about it, more movies kept coming out. And, we got movies like The Pianist. And for Roman Polanski, it took me, I didn't find out about him until a couple of years ago, and I saw The Pianist a long time ago. And I was like,
right. 2002 was when that movie came out. Right.
That's what I'm saying. So at the time, I had put that up there with Schindler's List. I was like, to me, quality wise, for that kind of like Holocaust film. That's in quality, it's up there with Schindler's List. It's a masterpiece film. So I had always said like, wow, this film was like 5 out of 5. It's perfect, whatever. Adrian Brody like went crazy, like it was great.
That's what boosted his career. That's what put Adrian Brody on the map.
Yeah,
and then the Academy Award nominations for that movie, I remember.
Yeah.
And that's also where Miramax started getting really big, and also Harvey Weinstein, which is another asshole dirtbag.
Yeah.
But you know, but it's just amazing though that someone can go on ahead, hop on a plane, go overseas, shoot a bunch of movies, and still get hype. But you're a convicted felon in the United States.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I know that bounty hunters can't go across certain lines or whatever to go get him because of certain laws and stipulations. But I would think like maybe the CIA or FBI could go ahead and get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think that he could get away with something like that, you know, and produce movies, direct them, things like that. And you're a convicted felon. Like you're basically a convicted felon at that point.
Yeah.
And
dude, like it's bad.
Right. I didn't even know that he directed The Ninth Gate until recently, because I watched that one time and that's a Johnny Depp movie. And that was an okay movie, but nowhere close to as The Pianist is. But
no,
I just feel like
no. Yeah, like for him, like it's tough because so I'm a big Harrison Ford fan. He's got films like Frantic, which is a good one. Has a nice little twist or whatever. That came out of like 88, I believe. You know, he's got a horror masterpiece, Rosemary's Baby, if you've ever seen that. Repulsion is a classic. Knife, like he's got quality films, man. But it's like, dude, it's freaking. I'm sorry, man. That's a sick man right there. And the way he got supported is just.
I do want to piggyback off of something that I do want to piggyback off of you on something that you said though.
Yeah.
About Francis Ford Coppola, about the timeline of something, because of the fact I think that is important when we put up stipulations on rules that we design our own selves.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, up to this point in the 70s, he was not this guy. So therefore I can watch this movie because at that time he wasn't doing these odd things that he was doing. So therefore I can watch anything in 1970 and be fine. Anything new, I don't want to watch because of the new allegations and stuff like that that's come out. So that's where I'm at too, though. Thanks. I'm at that crossroads. Like anything in the old timeline and stuff like that he put out, I'll watch. Anything in the new stuff, no, I'm not gonna watch. So that's where where I draw my line at. You know what I'm saying? With anybody.
Yeah. Because that's the nuanced way of doing it. Like cancel culture is just kind of a strange thing, man, because people commit mistakes, and I'm talking about not even criminal stuff. I'm talking about just other things, and people will cancel you. I'm talking about speaking wrongly about a culture out of ignorance or other little things, right?
Right.
And people will cancel everything and everything that they've done. I'm just like, no, I believe in looking at things more nuanced, even for somebody like Roman Polanski, because I also think it's important that younger people coming up, if they want to learn films and they want to appreciate films, they want to go to film school. Some of these movies you have to watch to learn from at the end of the day. Like you may have to watch The Pianist to get understand how that is shot and understand some history behind that or understand that story. Or Rosemary's Baby, you may have to watch that for a horror, just to understand how horror movies were done back then, to compare Rosemary's Baby to The Omen, to The Exorcist, that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff is like, you know, but I also believe that if you're recommending somebody who has done something terrible like him, you need to give somebody the other side of the information too. Like, hey, I'm going to recommend this film, but just to let you know, this director is XYZ, just so you know. So,
and it's hard to do that. It's hard to set up something like that in a film school situation, though, too. It's like, well, this guy's a dirtbag, but we have to study his film. It's like, okay, well, I can't excuse myself from the classroom. Like, well, I don't want to watch his films because he's done this, but I understand part of the art. Right.
Yeah. You want to fail this class? Well, you better watch you some Roman. Yeah.
Right. You got to watch some Roman. We got to watch some Rush Hour. Then after that, we're going to follow it up with The Pianist.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, what's interesting is Quentin Tarantino's that's my top 3 director all time. I mean, Him and Harvey Weinstein was boys. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is,
Right.
like I know Tarantino said something like, I had a feeling Weinstein was doing something, didn't really know at the time, but I had a feeling, should have said something sooner. And like when you say that, I'm like, well, if y'all were as tight as y'all were, you probably did know some shit, but you just didn't say it when you probably should have. It was too late, you know?
Right. It's like he's covering
So
for his friend and be like, well, I know that he's doing this stuff, but I need to cover for
yeah,
him so I can at least still have a job in this
yeah,
industry.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of, he's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of person.
Right.
But I mean, look at Woody Allen, dude. I mean, Woody Allen is just a weirdo, bro. He's just a
Yeah,
weirdo.
like being
Just a
charged of
weirdo.
for what he did with his daughter, and then his daughter still accusing him of molesting her still as an adult, still saying that he did this,
Yeah.
even though he was convicted not guilty.
Yeah.
But still, if she's still saying, giving her truth and still saying it,
Yeah.
there's got to be something behind it to make her say
And that's
that.
the thing. That's the thing. When people are looking at, well, it says not guilty. Yeah, okay. We can, our judicial system, whatever. But money talks too.
Right.
Money talks too. And anytime anybody's alleging something like that on you, that's just a bad look, dude. Like, come on. It's a bad
Exactly,
look.
because I have a rule too. I have this other rule. Like, if the evidence points in the direction of not guilty,
Mm-hmm.
and if the evidence it shows that the person was paid off, even though they're not going to say it, but if the headlines itself makes it look like the person was paid off and
Mm-hmm.
everything, here's the thing: I turn my back on them. Even then, I'm like, nope.
Oh yeah.
But if the
Yeah.
evidence is exclusive to where it says not guilty on da 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 da, and you
Yeah.
know that the evidence isn't, like for instance with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, you already knew straight up who was telling
Yeah.
the truth. So as long
Yeah.
as you have that in mind and knowing what the
Mm-hmm.
truth, what you think is the truth, and the evidence that's pointed up again with you, then that's how I stand on it. If the
Oh yeah.
evidence is showing that no one's being paid off, everybody's telling the truth on their end, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll go on ahead, innocent until proven guilty. But if you get
Yeah.
convicted again, then I'm like, okay, I need to back off.
Wiping my hands of you at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
this
feel
goes
you.
back to what John Cena said when Howard Stern asked him, "How do you feel about Vince McMahon and doing all
Mm.
this other stuff?" He goes, "I told him this: I can't support you. I can't support what you're doing. I have to back away right now from you."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how John Cena stands with it.
Yeah.
And I like his response to that. It is like, "Hey, look, we can't be friends. We can't break bread right now because of the things that you're
Yeah.
convicted of.
Yeah.
But you know, thank you for what you've done for me, but I can't talk to you," and back off until
Yeah.
there's any further evidence. And I wish that more people were like that.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Because John Cena just seems like just a good guy, end of the day. And also he wants to look out for his career and he's thinking of the long term. And it's like, dude, like he's thankful for what Vince McMahon did, but dude, come on now. That's heinous stuff. Like, yeah, ain't nobody trying to support that. So
No,
yeah.
sex
Did they ever
trafficking.
ask The Rock how he felt about any of that? Or no?
I don't know. I never really researched it that thorough. Matter of fact, we might have to
Yeah.
do this again to do something like that, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'd be
another thing too.
curious. Yeah, because I mean that's another thing. Like people speaking out against like people doing stuff. You don't see that as much either. Like actors speaking out against other actors or stuff like that. Not as much as you would think. I mean, obviously for Weinstein, it was a ripple effect. That was something different we hadn't seen before. But like you said, that was just part of the Me Too movement, and there was just too many women affected by that, and it was ridiculous. Like it
It
was, but it
was
was like that. It was like that one time where it's like, finally, y'all get a big whale like that. Finally, you know. So
exactly. I think this too. Like, if there's more people speaking out, then there's actually some truth behind what the person is saying. You know,
for sure, for sure,
another
yeah.
example is like Marilyn Manson. Okay, so back in 2021, he comes out with a new album. And here's the thing: I pre-ordered the album
Mhm.
that he had. I also owned a
Okay.
couple of Marilyn Manson stuff, and I also seen him in concert like maybe 2 or 3 times in concert and stuff
Damn.
like that. And
Yeah.
then the allegations come out in 2021. The record label drops him. He's also been the anonymous woman alleged in a lawsuit in 2021 however, the case was settled on a Wednesday in Supreme Court of California County of Los Angeles, according to the reports of Rolling Stone. The suit was initially in 2021 due to the exploration of the statute of limitations on the claims, refiled several weeks later per Rolling Stone following the settlement. Following during that week, Manson's lawyer Howard King shared a statement with the People. Brian is pleased that just as previous lawyers were abandoned without payment or settled for pennies and dollars, this plaintiff has now agreed to drop her suit in exchange for insurance payment representing a fraction of her demands and for less than the cost of Brian preceding the trial, which is Brian's Marilyn Manson. Details of the settlement have not been disclosed, according to Rolling Stone. Then I was fully prepared for a trial, is what a statement outlet that Doe said. And never a million years thought I would ever settle, but over the past 2.5 years, I have silently endured threats, bullying, harassment, and various forms of intimidation that have intensified over the past few weeks. She accused Manson and his team of carrying out intimidation tactics after he attended her disputation. I was forced to answer 7 hours of aggressive questions with him staring at him for actors at the table. Doe continued, I've been told this almost never happens, as if it's cruel, and that a mean reason for it would be to intimidate and inflict emotion distress on a victim. So yeah, if any of the victims are reading, so yeah.
I mean, you know, what's interesting is like when they settle like that, man. A lot of times that shit is guilty. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
and now Manson is looking for a comeback.
You know,
and he's going to be performing over in Biloxi, about 30 minutes away from me, with Five Finger Death Punch, and those bands don't even go together. You would think that Rob Zombie or Slipknot or someone like that.
Well, it's interesting. That's interesting. I was thinking about that's an interesting mix. Yeah. Now you know what's interesting about Manson. It was the Donda, I guess, listening party or something he did. I don't know what it was, but Kanye basically brought him out, and people were upset.
Yep.
Because his whole theme was supposed to be, you know, screw this cancel culture. You know, I'm going to bring out everybody that you say is canceled.
And Justin Bieber was a part of that too.
So he brought out Manson. Yeah, he brought out Bieber. He brought out the baby because, you know, the baby, what he said about whatever on stage. So, yeah, he just brought everybody out. He got some backlash. Now, Kanye done. That's another person. That's one of the artists that I know he's not canceled for a lot of people, but for me, I just don't care about listening to him at all anymore. I don't care what he says. To me, he's goofy.
Same here.
Anytime you speak out, yeah, he's goofy, dude. I don't care. I mean, he's a legend for everything he did in music, but my listening for him stopped at Life of Pablo. That's where I've ended it. I'm good there. That man had College Dropout to Life of Pablo. Those are some solid projects. I got all that there. I don't need anything else. Once he said slavery was a choice on TMZ and started saying all the other stuff and talking about some Harriet Tubman ain't do nothing and all. I'm like, man, how you gonna start downplaying Harriet Tubman and talking about slavery was a choice and all this crap? I'm like, what are you talking about? Then the way he aligned himself with Trump and got himself played by Trump, looking like a fool with the MAGA hat on, talking about this gives me superpowers, and started hugging him like master. I said, boy, I couldn't believe it, dog. I said, that man that's out of there. Like, I can't.
Yeah, he's out there.
It's not even about where you align yourself politically, but how do you go from George Bush doesn't care about black people during the Katrina time and then go over here?
Yep.
Master. Oh, Master, I love you. It's like the Django. It's like Django, right. Samuel Jackson.
And the bad thing is, though, at least with Samuel Jackson's character, right, man? At least with Samuel Jackson's character, he was institutionalized to that system. Kanye was not even institutionalized. He's just a
he's just a nutcase, bro. And I'm just like, I don't care what he has to say. Then what he said about the Jewish community and all that, it's just like, dude, you just don't care. Like,
no.
And the thing is, it's like, why do you think you're teaching us something new? about record labels taking advantage of artists. Then you just pinpoint that on Jewish people like they're just the only ones responsible. Like, dude, that's everybody. Look at Diddy. He used people. It's everybody. Everybody who has a record label uses people.
Right. It's not just one race of color.
You're gonna put it on one group of people. I'm like, dog, you were dumb. Like, what are we talking about here? This man said himself, I don't read. Okay. And I don't look at it. I was like, you don't. You said yourself you don't read. So everything you say comes from the heart, and that shit is bullshit.
Because here's the thing, though, too, man. Like, everybody has a dark heart.
Yeah.
So, you already know that you messed up when you're talking from the heart, because chances is you're talking within a dark place in your own self.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man.
And everything.
Like, come on now. That stuff is flawed, man.
And here's the thing. I like College Dropout. That's where I ended it for me, was College Dropout.
Yeah.
And also, too, he's a great producer. He did H to the Izzo. He did that with Jay-Z.
Can't take that from him. Yeah.
No. But he's got a screw loose up there.
Oh yeah.
You're right, though. He's not even, but he all of a sudden he just wants to go up on Trump's side and be like, oh, this hat gives me superpowers, a master, and just I just don't get it. I really don't. I'm like, dude,
weird. That was so weird, dude. Like, Trump don't care about you, man.
No, he don't. He don't care about you. And even whenever the whole thing with Katrina, I remember that. I remember everybody was pissed off at Kanye at that time, because I actually went through Katrina down here in Mississippi. Yeah. And I remember that. I was like, that's it. I'm done with Kanye. Everybody canceled. This is like before social media. I was like, I'm done with Kanye.
Man, it was an interesting time, man. But it's just like, he's got his thing. And then I was thinking about somebody else politically too, man. I don't know if you follow John Voight at all.
A little bit of John Voight.
John Voight is a weird guy politically, because it's strange, because he was a progressive person. He was pretty liberal when he was younger. And I feel like as he got older, he started getting angrier and then going more towards the right. But he claimed that Obama had grown up with the teachings of very angry, militant white and black people around him. And so then John Voight endorsed the Republican president nominees Mitt Romney and Donald Trump in 2012 and in the 2016 elections. And then he actually spoke at the inauguration rally for Trump in 2017. And Voight said, God answered all of our prayers. And that was like his actual.
Nah.
And I was just like, dude, this dude is freaking weird, man. Like,
this is another Kanye situation.
And I was just like, I don't know. I guess during the elections, I'm trying to see people putting God and Trump in the same thing, but whatever. But whenever, like, after getting all this information of Trump now, and then still saying, oh, God is so good, or, oh, bless America and all this stuff. After seeing the stuff he's done, why would you even equate that to Christianity, which is strange to me? Like, don't do that.
That's something I never understood either, though, man. Like, I question that as well, because I know some people that I know of that are Christians, and yet they still want to follow him. I'm like, you're following a cult leader.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And like, you don't care about anything.
January 6th. Hello, January 6th.
Right. I don't mean to be political, but you know what I mean, though. Like, I'm with you on that, because I never liked Trump. I never cared for him. I call him Agent Orange. And
straight up, man. Yeah, straight up. I mean, dude, it's crazy.
It really is, if you think about it, though. You know, like, the guy can go on ahead, probably murder someone on TV, and then come back and do a political speech, and they'll still think that he's a hero.
He actually said that he could kill somebody in New York. You could have to find the quote. He actually said he could shoot somebody and get away with it. He definitely said that. I was like, as much as that sucks to hear, I definitely think he can.
Yep. But it just sucks. But let's go on.
But it's just, John Voight. I thought that was weird. But I'm not gonna cancel John Voight. It is interesting though when you talk about separating the art from the artist. He was one of those people I thought about, because politically, I don't mind people being in a different position from me. But it is interesting when people start talking like that. I'm like, no, come on, that's weird.
Right. And here's the thing, though, when it comes down, that's another thing that you bring up as an interesting thing too, is the politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Too. Someone's like, oh, I don't want to represent this person anymore. I don't want to watch this person's movie. He supports Obama or he supports Biden. I'm like, who cares? That's their own choice. It's their own personal choice.
I can't let my politics get. I can't let that get in the way.
No,
when you start getting wild though, talking crazy all the time, that's when it starts getting a little weird.
Right. For instance,
but it's not gonna take away from movies like Anaconda's dope. Like, come on now, Anaconda. Like, I'm gonna watch Anaconda. I'm gonna watch some Deliverance, squeal like a pig.
I love that movie, dude. Like, that's gonna be something that you and I might have to review as Anaconda and Money Train. Like, for real. Those are my 2 all-time favorite movies, though, too.
Oh 90s. Man, it's wild, dude. It's wild. But shoot, we gotta talk about I was about to say Bill Cosby. We gotta talk about Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Let's talk about Bill Cosby.
So here's the thing with Bill, okay? So I remember at my friend's house, I was watching Bill Cosby because I loved the Cosby Show. Wasn't in a racist. I was never born to be in a racist home or anything. I accept people for who they are. So, you know, and I was at my friend's house and like, you know, my mom don't like Cosby. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She don't like Cosby. I'm over here laughing my ass up with Theo and having a good time, and then she's like, she just don't like him. She has like a bad vibe with him or something. What? Then all of a sudden, the stuff comes out, slipping a little sleepy time medicine in somebody's drink and all that stuff. I'm like, Spanish fly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, okay, this now I know why. This actually gave my friend's mom a creepy vibe. Why Bill Cosby is the reason why she doesn't allow him in her home. So I totally get it. I thought it was a racial issue.
She probably had the foresight to see that ain't nobody that damn perfect. Something's off with this guy.
Here's the thing though. In the South, I always, whenever somebody says, oh, I don't watch a certain person of color, I'm automatically thinking racial. You know?
Oh yeah.
But sure. I'm like, because I'm not brought up in that kind of situation, because I was taught to see people for who they are. I was not born a racist person. Born into a racist world at the with anyone, you know, at my home. So whenever I'm over at my friend's house, that's the first instinct that I go to. Oh, she must be racist because of the fact she don't allow Cosby. And all of a sudden that happens. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry for judging you back then when I was like 16, 17 years old. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she definitely probably picked up on something, you know, now that those allegations came out.
Man, Cosby was one walking contradiction. This dude, he used to go around college campuses, specifically historically black colleges, and make speeches saying, you got to do better. You got to stop sagging your pants. You got to start conducting yourself better. Basically trying to talk down to the younger black generation. Meanwhile, this dude was up here slipping all kind of stuff to people and not knowing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, This dude here, you got a problem with brothers wearing do-rags, brothers sagging, and you up here doing what you doing. Shut up.
Right, doing worse stuff than showing their
Yeah, shut up. Shut up. Yeah. But what I was trying to say was the Cosby Show is still one of those that if it's on, I'll watch it, because that's going back to the time period of the Cosby Show and what it was. It was a wholesome show, and it was a good show that shows, you know, a 2-parent household, and then you're talking about a black family that was on the upper wealth gap. You know what I'm saying? It does a really good job of showing you lessons as a teenager through Vanessa and Theo and some of that stuff. So it's just overall just a good show. And I'm not going to take anything away from the actual show. So
exactly.
But anything that Cosby's just, you know, Cosby, man, it's just crazy.
It really is. And then,
but yeah,
there's also another actor that was into cannibalism or something like that. What was his name? You know who I'm talking about, I think, right? What was his name? Because I can't think of it right now. And
dude, I forgot. I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember who it was though. Because I feel like somebody talked about him recently. It was actually so it was the guy who played in that movie Call Me by Your Name.
Army Hammer.
That's it. Yeah. That guy.
Yeah.
They're actually supposed to be doing a sequel.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
You heard
me? What do you think?
I mean, what? First of all, what is the story? Is this shit real or not? Like, what is he doing? I mean, he's giving Dr. Lecter vibes, apparently.
Right. Back in 2023, that
I mean,
happened.
geez.
But yeah, that's someone else.
Just
And I'm
last
like,
year? Golly.
yeah, this was like last year with Army Hammer's cannibalism and abuse controversy. After a woman who says
It's
she
been
had
multiple
intimate
times, dude.
relations.
I don't know. I don't think I want to mess with.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Everyone has their own preferences.
So he's actually he's stepped away from projects. He has
no
stepped
choice
away
but
from
to.
projects before. Yeah, like he has expressed a desire to cook and eat one of her ribs. Like, bro, what is going on here, bro?
That's some dark and twisted
Nah,
stuff.
I don't need this. I mean, I don't think there needs to be a sequel. I think Call Me by Your Name is already a phenomenal film, and I don't think we need a sequel. I think you can leave it alone. I don't think anybody wants to see him in a movie anymore. If I'm being real,
No,
you know.
definitely.
So I think Army Hammer is pretty much done.
Yeah, he ruined his own career. He had a good thing going, and then he decided to do the whole cannibalism thing, which is, really bizarre. What other
he's off,
actor
man.
do you have? Huh?
Well, what do you think about Eli Roth?
I like Eli. I like Eli Roth's movies and stuff, but the stuff that comes out of it, you know what I mean? Like I watched Thanksgiving together a couple months back before I found out about some of the stuff he was convicted of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hearing a little stuff here and there. I didn't know that much about him, man. Like, other than his movies, you know. And
same.
I think from what I've been told, I mean, he's an asshole. He's crazy. Got some bad stuff attached to him, but I don't know. I mean, is there anything specifically you found, like article wise, that Eli Roth has done?
I'm trying to look, like,
because I've been like, I'm starting to see more stuff is starting to circulate around him on TikTok. I think more people are starting to say stuff. I just wasn't aware of like kind of some of the stuff he was doing.
Let's see here.
I was going to try to see something now.
Okay, so Eli Roth gets back to bloody basics with Thanksgiving. This is whenever his film was coming out.
Yeah.
Holders into a teenager's ears for maximum terror. Thanksgiving. 40 years later, the gag is simple. Start with the corn picks. This is them analyzing Eli Roth's film. So I wonder if this is just him. I wonder if this is just stuff like poor attitude, like we talked about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just behavior wise.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess I was trying to find something if somebody said something about him. I mean, somebody said, what did they say? He's an obnoxious, homophobic, misogynistic douchebag who should have been blacklisted from Hollywood years ago.
So I'm thinking that someone probably had some beef with him.
Apparently he's been. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's something else back in 2017. Trying to see Death Wish director Eli Roth hits back at racism. Controversy leveled against movie. I don't know. I have to find it. But Eli Roth is one of those people
like
I need
a mixed
to look into.
bag of stuff. I mean, I think it falls right now before we actually find out any kind of information on Eli Roth. I think it goes under that thing with J-Lo, where it's like just pure bad behavior. You know, or what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you draw the line
that's
on
probably
that?
it. Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, when it comes to bad behavior is bad behavior. But I mean, once you're anything along the lines of sexual misconduct and stuff like that, oh, I get it. Let's talk about Jonathan Majors. Let's go with him.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like, where are you at with Jonathan Majors right now? I think Jonathan Majors was one of the most talented up and coming actors. Period. Like,
dude, I remember defending Jonathan Majors. I remember defending him. Like, I was actually on that throne defending him every single day because of the fact of like, oh, he's not showing masculinity because he's dressing a certain way, or you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so what if he doesn't? Who cares about how he dresses? I'm not TMZ. I care about his performance and his performing arts versus how he does outside of his home. And he's an A-list actor. He was in Marvel. He was in Creed. He was doing stuff. He would actually been the next Denzel Washington, if you think about it, if his career didn't go down the tubes the way it did. And I'm like, and I was like this. When they were saying, oh, he was abusing his girlfriend, right? I was like, well, let me wait until the tape comes out. Let me see the evidence. Once the evidence comes out, then I'll say yay or nay on it. Then the evidence came out. I'm like, okay, sorry, dude. You go your way. I go my way. We don't talk for a while. You know what I mean? But I can watch Creed 3.
Now you know you heard what people are saying now. So because I said when I heard all the stuff that came out, I said something on TikTok. I said, "Oh man, you a piece of shit for that." Because anytime you put your hands on a woman, it's like, all right,
okay, exactly.
You go in the corner now. But the video came out, and so they saw. So obviously, there's the video where he's throwing her in a car or whatever. But then there's the video of him running from her too. So that's when everybody was like, "Oh, see, he was trying to get away, and she's provoking him." So then there were people trying to say that they think that any injury that she got was from her going back to his place when he was asleep, and her falling asleep drunk in a closet or something like that at his place. Basically, but then the stuff came out and whatever, like he got guilty regardless under a couple of counts. Nothing too major, but enough that was damaging enough for Disney to say.
Also, Wago. Yep.
And then enough for other people to, because magazine. Good evening, Roxy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And then enough for Magazine Dreams to still not exist. Like, where's Magazine Dreams at? You know how long I've been waiting for that movie?
Right now, it's. I think it's.
I've been waiting for like 2 years.
Right.
I've been waiting for 2 years. The movie's done.
I don't think it's going to
get. People saw this at Sundance like 2 years ago.
You would think that they would actually put that on streaming services or something, right? It's like, well, we don't want to take a chance at the box office, so we're just going to go on ahead.
Put it on Tubi, dog. Put it on Tubi.
Right. Because let's see here. I just want to do the math on this, okay? What's the name of the movie?
Tubi. Put it somewhere.
What's the name of the movie? Magazine Street? Okay, so I'm going to look up the
Magazine Dreams. This was supposed to come out. Yeah. Find out where it's at, man. Find out where this is at. Because I'm still trying to figure out, like, if this came out, the budget?
Okay. Yeah, the budget was $7 million. So it was a low budget film.
84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Dude, I heard he went crazy in that movie. I heard he goes crazy.
That would have made, to be honest with you, that would actually make him have his Academy Award right there if that's the case.
If they say it's an Oscar-worthy performance. They say it's an Oscar-worthy performance. The thing is, dude, like, I hear he goes to a dark place in that movie. Like, he goes to a dark place. And that's where part of the motivation for getting super swole like that was, not only for Creed 3, but part of that movie because he's playing a bodybuilder. So he goes to like a dark place mentally and just goes in. So I was waiting on that movie. And it was like, dude, I've been hearing about that movie for like 2-3 years. And I'm like, we're never going to see it now. Like,
it sucks, man.
We can't get it. Like, nobody.
That was my most anticipated movie at that year, though, too. Was seeing that movie because I remember how jacked up he was. I remember just being a Jonathan Major fan. Like I said, I was his biggest cheerleader. Then all of a sudden I see him do that shit to his girlfriend. I'm like, nah, man, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I can't support you. I can't support your movie. I can't do anything like that. No. Then let's talk about Kevin Spacey.
Man. That was rough.
Let's talk about Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Like, dude, I can't even watch Baby Driver or 21 anymore because of things he's done.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what was it? American Beauty. That movie has
Yeah.
aged like spoiled milk. Just can't do it, dog. That has aged like spoiled milk. And Kevin Spacey to me is just one of those. I think just, but it's one of those things, man. He's got his hands all over Hollywood, all over Hollywood.
Well, my question is this, okay? I know we talked about a timeline. Hold on a second. Let me try something real quick.
You kind of freezing on your end, man. I can't even hear you. What'd you say?
Let me try something real quick. I'll let you talk about Kevin Spacey a little bit, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. No, I think Kevin Spacey's garbage. Point blank, period. It's actually crazy because Kevin Spacey is one of those actors. So when he was on trial, one of the people, actually, the person who was supposed to testify, actually ended up getting murdered.
Real? Yeah. I remember that story.
So I think somebody put a hit out on somebody.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he ended up getting a hit on someone.
It's too convenient, bro. It's too convenient. Like, it's too, like, what? Like, what? Died right before testifying? Like, come on now.
That's convenient.
That's just, but his sexual misconduct is wild, bro.
Yeah.
Also, like, what's interesting about him is, like, so obviously you know about the boy that was way underage when this happened. What's interesting about it was like last year, the time when all this information was coming out, that he wants to come out and say he was gay to basically try to change the narrative and basically say, oh, I come out as gay or whatever. And it's like, dude, that doesn't dismiss the abuse that you did to this boy, you know?
No, it doesn't.
So,
and okay, so yeah. I think that we're at a good spot right now.
Hey, my boy John freezing over there, man.
Yeah, I think it might be StreamYards. That might be the thing that's doing it. I think we're at a good spot right now to be able to probably continue this conversation for another segment and start it back up with Kevin Spacey again. So
yeah, that works.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, so because of the technical difficulties that I'm having with StreamYards, and I apologize to anyone that's watching right now, or that's gonna watch in the future.
How many people are watching, by the way? Anybody?
Right. Yeah. We had about 4 or 5 people popping in and out right now. And
okay, got you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys are watching even afterwards, I apologize for the fact that I have to close out a little early because I really enjoyed the vibe. I really enjoyed the conversation that we're having back and forth. But with StreamYards right now, just screwing up. Yeah. It's part of doing live shows. You know, these things happen out of my control.
Yeah, it's all good.
But guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this segment.
It's all good, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, we're gonna go on ahead. We're gonna close out. Normally I get Kevin to tell me what he has coming out on his show, but because of the fact that I keep on freezing every single time I probably talk, we're gonna have to close out. I'm sorry, I apologize, but I am gonna talk to StreamYards to see what's up. So everyone have a great and safe night. Catch you guys on the next one.